everyone. Thank you guys so much for coming to the San Antonio Indie Devs panel at San Antonio Startup Day. I'll be moderating the panel. I'm Ansley Partosa, the head of the Greater Gaming Society. And for our first question, why don't we just go down the line and you guys can tell me a quick intro of your name, what you do, and maybe what game you guys brought.
Sure, my name is Ryan Beltran. I'm with Chaincraft, and it's an AI game builder.
Hello, I'm Zelik Garza, and right now I am developing a dungeon crawler, and it's called Hardstyle Dungeon.
Hello, I'm Zachary Helms. I'm the artist, musician, business guy for Two Brain Games. And I got two games here. I got Kagami, a Japanese language learning game, and Carnage Card X, a hack and slash card game. Okay.
Awesome. Cool. Yeah, so if you guys didn't know, on the third floor, they will be showcasing their games. So right after the panel, you guys can check out the games that we'll be talking about today. So my first question is, what inspired you to make your game? So we'll just start you first.
So, when AI started coming out, I am not a dev myself, and I thought it'd be really interesting to make games. And then I also started thinking well, I can make a game, but how do you monetize it? How can we work on something where you can build, but also earn from it? And so that kind of started the Chaincraft idea. And I had an old friend who has been in the gaming industry for 20 years, brought an AI dev on, and we just started working.
So my introduction was a course I took my last semester at UTSA, and it was a final project where we were learning a new modern language. And so I took it upon myself to take that course to learn the new modern language. And then after that, once I graduated, I wanted to be better, and it's used a lot in cloud computing. So I just took it upon myself to keep developing the game, and plus I kind of like games a little bit, and I got more into it. And I just kept developing, and the good thing is it kind of opens you up to the development side that you kind of don't learn in university levels, at least at UTSA. There's some universities that will kind of branch out on the concentration side of things that may show you that, but at least at UTSA it's just kind of glanced. So you have to really dive into that, and that's kind of the approach. But I've been just kind of getting more and more into it as I develop it. So yeah, that's how I got into that.
Yeah, when the inspiration for, I'll split it into two. For the Japanese language learning game was we wanted to learn Japanese. We were looking at other apps that already existed. We were looking at other video games that already existed, and we were kind of frustrated with that. So we decided to make our own, which I think is what people do when they're frustrated with stuff, right? You just make it yourself. And then for Carnage Card X, that kind of happened on accident while we were working on our next project. We were kind of playtesting or vertical slicing some ideas for a cute little ghost game where they're floating around, and it ended up, we were like, oh, what if we have a little mini game where it's like Mario Kart, because that would be fun in a cute little town or whatever. And then we were like, well, what if we put a sword on it, as a cute little fun thing one night, and then we were like, oh, this is great. So we just transitioned over to that and became its own game.
It's cool. I love that there's so many different inspirations for jumping into game development, and everyone's kind of going through their own path. I wanted to know, what are your biggest challenges when creating your game? Is there something in the development side, or is it a business side? What challenges have you guys had?
I would say for Chaincraft, part of it is there's a lot involved since it's a game building platform. So we have to both balance thinking steps ahead without getting overwhelmed and just trying to do everything at once. So it's been both that and just working with the team and spending our time wisely because of just the low amount of funding that we have. But we have gotten some grants, and we are just excited with how it's going on.
I think the challenge for me is, well, one, the artistic side, because I'm not an artist. So for animations in a game, you have to have an artist. I don't think AI will really be good enough for that, even though a lot of people use it. If you want good art and art that's gonna do what you want it to do, because you can create a state machine in there that we learned that, and you can really critique the frames the way you want it. So art is like the biggest thing. That's my biggest challenge right now. And then money, of course. Like I think all of us are on the same boat with that. The computer science side stuff, I love it. So I mean, a lot of that stuff I'm already starting to like incorporate. Of like, you know, I don't know if anyone knows, but like D trees, and then some like padding algorithms that they use in like chessboard games. Like you kind of learned that at UTSA, and so I've kind of been like, oh, this would be great. One good story is like, I was talking to a friend of mine who was a web developer, and I was like, why don't you just use a decision tree? And he was like, oh, this and this. I was like, you know what? I actually could use a big tree for mine, because it'll like space things out and create rooms for me, and I can go about it that way. So I think that I like that. That's a challenge of it. I like to see about it.
I mean, yeah, like technical challenges are always going to be something when you're dealing with software. So, it's going to be marketing challenges, trying to kind of get your product in front of other people without coming off like a corporate guy, especially with art, indie stuff like that. You don't want to be looking like a business doing business. You want to come off like, hey, I'm one of you, because we are, obviously. And then, as you said, money. Everyone that I've met is always bootstrapping it or paying for their stuff through their own things. I mean, you got a grant, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be up
You're one up. You're one up on
If
us
anyone's
on
a
that
grant
one.
writer out there.
Yeah, if you have grant money, just send it our way. We'll take it. But yeah, that's going to be money, marketing, and then like it's also like who you go into business with. Because at the end of the day, if you're going into business with your friend, that's going to be possibly an issue, especially indie. Because you go, oh, I have a dream. Come with me. And then you go, oh, you're not really as into it. And that's just like a classic business thing where it's like money and friends and stuff. So fortunately, we've been lucky in that sense. But yeah.
Yeah, I definitely can see like and resonate with the struggles of being a indie developer, because oftentimes this isn't your full-time job, I would assume. Like maybe if
I'm just in debt.
You're right.
just
Still
going
there.
in debt, like business plus going in debt for the dream business is kind of like the indie vibe. But I think that since we're here at Startup Day, is there anything that people wouldn't expect from the indie dev business side? Is there something that you wish people, maybe like investors, knew about how much you guys work into your passion projects, like the time that it goes into it? What's like something you would want to tell people that maybe they hadn't known about indie dev or indie development?
Another addition to Chaincraft at the beginning, which I was hearing from Matt, our co-founder who's been in the game industry, is just the reduced risk that game companies are taking. They're cutting costs and laying people off. And on top of that, it's just so costly to iterate, try something out. And that was also part of the beginning. He brought that to the team that I, did think about. And so part of Chaincraft is this idea like, hey, if you have this idea, before you spend all this time, money, and effort trying to raise, maybe you can do it very simply by iterating, simulating, saying, hey, there's something here, and that is part of like Chaincraft at its core as well. You can do multiplayer and you can invite somebody in and try it out and get some feedback.
What was the question?
What is something about indie developments that you think most businesses or like startups don't understand or don't know about? Like, is there anything?
I have no idea about the industry. I've never been a part of it. I've been informed about it through my own professor, and he doesn't seem to like it too much. So he's more of an independent developer, and he has his own successful developed game that he has and maintains, and it's on Steam and things like that. So that's as far as I know. So if anything, I can get more information from all of you guys if you know more about it than I do.
Yeah, it does seem difficult because you're either like at the very top where you're like EA and all these big giant companies that bought out all these smaller companies, all these smaller things, and they're laying them off, or you're at the very kind of bottom, and every once in a while there's a few smaller to mid-level companies that are able to kind of maintain they're like they want to stay small, like they don't want to expand too large. I mean, Steam's a really good example itself, where they have like 100 and some odd employees, but they're giant. But that's, I mean, they do develop games, but it's a little whatever. I'll get on a whole other subject. But I think the good thing about, because there's a bad, obviously, with a lot of companies laying off a lot of tech stuff. Like that's a big thing that's happening right now. It's general economy stuff, right? In my head, though, it's like it gives an opportunity where it's almost like you can buy the dip, where you can invest into people who are trying to be creative, who got let go, or have just been joining, or have just been there for a couple of years, like me. You could invest into those kinds of people and businesses for fairly affordably, because they're just trying to get by. They just want to survive, and maybe like low cost, high reward, almost like a horror movie in the movies where it's like, oh, the budgets are low, but you get your money back pretty quickly almost. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I can see that and understand where you're coming from, because then it's like indie games, even though a lot of things are kind of bootstrapped and local, like there are some that kind of explode into the public eye, like what is the one that Silk Song that came out? That one's an indie game, I would say, and then even Deltarune and Undertale are indie games that a lot of people recognize nowadays. On the topic of the indie games, I wanted to hear more about y'all's and what is something that you are most proud about with your game that you're showcasing today.
Yeah, so with Chaincraft, I'm really proud that we finally got it on a web app, so you can just jump right in. I mean, it's still an alpha, so we're not really like overly sharing it, but you could demo it today. But I've been so excited for all this time. We've been trying to build this and have it be something that was intuitive, easy to create a game, simulate a game, go back and tweak it, and then actually publish it for everybody else to play. It's multiplayer. So that's kind of where I am right now. Like, so I'm excited that it's something that is much more tangible than what we were doing on the back end testing. So yeah, I'm really excited.
Let's see, was it something about my game? Or
Yeah, what are you proud about?
proud about? Okay, so I think the first thing would be that people can actually play 5 levels of it. I'm pretty proud of that. And it's on itch.io. So look for itch.io.com. Was it itch.io?
Yeah.
Yeah,
/
itch.io.
Dunk,
Itch.io is a...
DUHNK. So that's where you can find it. But also the overall development skills that I've achieved on that, because it's a good way of like, just if you want to learn how to develop, it's pretty good, because you have to deal with a lot of like parts of development that you're not going to get a lot again in university, because of the, maybe you want to put it on a GitHub, like they're not going to show you how to do that on GitHub at universities. Most of them don't. They might tell you, but they're not going to show you. It's not their focus. Let's see, also design patterns. A lot of times you kind of do that in software engineering course, but not too much. And so learning how to do that, refactoring, and learning how to like, developer debt, like learning how to like go about it the right way versus going about it the brute force way, and then finding out that you have to refactor a lot of stuff. So I'm really proud that I can say like, yeah, I've taken a different approach about that, because you start very simple, which is great. Like you do want to start very simple. Like you don't want to go and overwhelm yourself, and then you can then take it to the next level. And make it more not complicated, but the complication becomes how big it becomes. Like, it's not so much what you're building, because you can build something very small, but as you add more to it, it becomes more and more complicated, and that's where that complication comes from. So that's where I'm kind of proud of my development overall.
So I guess kind of what you were kind of talking about at the beginning, it's like anyone who makes or is trying to make a game should be proud if they're able to actually finish it, right?
Yeah.
Finishing a product, that's like rare. If you go onto any game dev subreddit, you will see, oh my God, you finished the game? You released it? It's a big deal, and you should be proud of yourself. Everyone should be proud of themselves who are capable of doing that. And I'm proud of myself for being able to do that because, 3 years ago it was a dream. That I was like, oh, I just want to see my game on Steam one day. And then I was like, oh, now I have 2. And I'm about to have the 3rd probably, hopefully. And it's like, it's definitely achievable. I'm not special in any way. But
I think it's kind of special. It's kind of like you got to get through the hoops.
Yeah.
Like publishing, the different platforms that we're talking about, Steam and itch.io, those are different applications that you can download on your computer and play various games. Like, I think it's only computer based though, right? Like it's not like an Xbox.
I mean, the new Xbox is going to support the Steam app.
Okay.
Or the
Okay.
new more portable, you know what I mean? So that it's starting to become more and more unified in some way. Other than Nintendo, they will always be their own thing.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. No, for sure. Like the process is like a reward in itself, but then when you see your game and you can like send it to people and download it, like that's definitely a reward in itself. I've had that experience when I used to develop games, so if anyone could even like move a character a little bit across the screen, like I did it, you know.
There's definitely something super satisfying about you did something and now it's on the screen and it did something and you're like, oh my God, I can try mate. I am God. I am powerful. I don't know, or I'm just like I like light up stuff too, so I'm simple to entertain.
I would like to add also when you do finally give it to the world, like you get that feedback you need, because you're not getting that when you're developing it. So one thing I figured out was people didn't like my camera, so that was like the one thing I got from. It was like, oh, why is this camera this way? They would link me information, and then I was like, okay. And then I did it on another site, and then they're like, oh, this camera's horrible. And I was like, okay, yeah, that has to be changed. Because they don't like the camera.
Yeah, those are some hard lessons to learn once you get like the player feedback. I guess that's also important why you guys should check out their games after this. That way you can also give them the real-time feedback, because
Yeah.
sometimes people are really nice online and they'll sugarcoat it, but like if you're in person, people can't mask their face and they're like, why is this controls like this? I've had that.
And sometimes people online do not mask, and they will go
Yeah.
straight for your throat. Yeah, some of the comments I've had to delete because they're so disturbing. But there's a lot of nice people too.
Yeah.
So.
It's just a game, it's not that serious.
Right? Yeah.
But yeah, sometimes games can be serious, especially when it's like your passion project, it's something that you've been working on for years. So what would you define as success for yourself as an indie developer? Like, what does success for your game mean to you? Is it like 1 million copies sold, or is it like your mom understands how to play your game? Like, what do you guys define as success?
I think the first thing that comes to mind for me is if somebody creates either just a component for a game, because the way it works is even if you create a new mechanic for a game, you could get royalties from that. That's the idea. If we get to the point where somebody actually earns from that, I'd be so happy. Like I feel like that'd be the right directions.
That's a good question. Success. I mean, I've had little goals successfully throughout this process, but I guess maybe the end goal is to have it become its own development, I guess, company where people can actually get in on the projects and help develop projects and be its own little indie company. I think that would be the end goal. So at some point.
I mean, I agree where I feel like success is kind of a spectrum that keeps changing as you go along your goals, where it's like, okay, get something on the screen working. That was success that day, you know what I mean? And then now, look back and, oh, that's nothing. So it just kind of keeps evolving, because it's like, I didn't think I was going to make a company, which actually is really easy to make an LLC in Texas. So yeah.
Okay. That's good to know. See, I'm
Yeah.
learning.
And like having my email at twobraingames.com is, I was like, oh yeah, I'm awesome. In comparison to Gmail, no offense to Gmail people, but it's like those little things, having a little business card that you can go, there's all these levels. It makes you feel good, having a product, talking to people, having something that people enjoy, or the fact that you even got a comment about your camera is great, because that means they cared enough to give you time out of their day to tell you that, And obviously there's some people who are doing it just because they got nothing better to do, but there's also people who are like, they want to see you succeed, and they're like, here's the thing that you could change, and that's success too, in a way. Like having someone care about what you're doing, having KSET do a little thing for you at the Geekdom, that's success in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I love that. It's like little tiny successes, leveling up your business, and your game development, and then just leading up to the launch of your game.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I will say, oh sorry.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
It would be nice to be sustainable. I think that's the end goal of any business, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or have growth, but I think sustainable, when you're a creative person, being able to pay for your electricity bill or your groceries is nice.
Oh yeah. Yeah, the sustainability, I would say, is probably a very good goal to have, especially I think everyone understands in the startup world. It's like once you can pay your rent, or like you said, electricity or whatever, it's just like, yeah, that was my business and we worked on it.
Yeah.
Now we got to get to the next one.
Yeah.
But yeah, so those are all my questions, but I wanted to open up to the audience. If anyone has any questions, feel free to raise your hand, and then let's go from there. Yes?
So most of the game is project-based. You make one game and you're done. And that's why it's really difficult, I think, for companies to use system on longer term. And I was also thinking, because it's project-based, what do you think about platforms like Kickstarter?
What do we think about platforms like Kickstarter, since indie development is kind of like project-based? Is that right?
Yeah.
I mean, I have opinions if you listen to them.
They're not now.
From what I understand of Kickstarter, usually it's kind of like you already have a amount that you're going to get, and it's almost used as a PR thing to like, oh, I know I'm going to get 10K, so I'm going to put the goal at 10K. I know I have enough people to make that goal in whatever time period. You hit that goal, you get to go, I hit my goal. You get to put that into the press and all that, and they go, this game hit their goal. So it's almost being used as kind of a thing, which, obviously there are other projects that aren't doing it the way Kickstarter imagined it being done, right? But from what I understand, from what I've seen and read and all that stuff, and it makes sense, But so Kickstarter or crowdfunding, depending on what the crowdfunding company or whatever, however you're doing it, works, whether Patreon or whatever, it's definitely, there's potential, but it's also like it's a thing that can be used for its unintended purpose or whatever. But
Kickstarter, I tried it. There's a lot of stuff you got to do to make sure that it works for you, and you have you have to have a lot of already built, kind of like stuff you already got to show. You're gonna show for them, because that's how they get you. But that's how they know their model works for the people. Because if you have videos, if you have it's already there, and they kind of tell you oh, if you have a video, your chances of being this is gonna go up a lot, things like that. And then just linking up bank accounts and all that other stuff. It's a lot of work to print in. And then I found the Patreon is a little easier, but still it takes a lot of effort to actually get your name out there. Just like anything when you're first starting out, because people don't know who you are and what you're doing, and just kind of very skeptical. So it's not easy. But if you do have all this stuff, it makes it a little easier.
Yeah. No, that makes sense.
I'm glad you say Kickstarter and Patreon. And I mentioned we got a grant. We got a grant through blockchain, through Ethereum. a layer 2 Arbitrum. But my point being is we got into that space because there's a lot of funds there. There's actually a lot of funds specifically for gaming right now. And sadly, a lot of people will throw in a game that doesn't really make sense for being on the blockchain. And so a lot of them will fail, but will take the money that they got. But there's still being money kind of put out there to try to find that like really good game or set of games or way of playing on the blockchain. And there's a lot of funds and grants out there, and people willing to, even just individuals, so en masse, people maybe putting a little bit of money into a game to help you out or see it through. Yeah, so that's sort of why we went into that realm. Yeah.
I think the blockchain and Web3 is something that a lot of developers haven't kind of discovered, or it's like a new thing to kind of shift your game focus towards being capable of doing. For Kickstarter, I will say from my personal experience, I worked on a game and we did have to have at least a demo of the game available. That way people could see the vision. Because then in order to push the game to the very end and be like, okay, we can give you like extra content, or if you want a stuffed animal of a character, we can do that if we hit this goal. So there's like things like that and little increments that kind of give more life to the game. However, that strat of if I can make it to this mark, it'll be more successful. I have seen that happen, and I didn't think people actually did that, but keep that in the back pocket.
Yeah. Hey, marketing.
Yeah. Does anyone else have any other questions about their games or any game development questions? No? All right. Well, I think that's about time, unless you guys have any closing words or thoughts that you would like to throw out there.
Just come check out our demos downstairs, 3rd floor. Yeah, we'd love to have you all.
Yeah. Took the words right out of my mouth.
Awesome. Well, we'll see you guys on the 3rd floor. Thank you guys for coming to our panel.
Thank you.